Make it all about. What is up, everybody? Welcome down to the Kessel Corner. Today we have Dan, Pavenmire, and Swampy Marsh, creators of hit show Phineas and Ferb. New season coming out June 5th and June 7th on Disney Plus. June 6th on Disney Plus.
The very next day on Disney Plus.
Amazing. Guys, I have to ask, how did you come up with Perry the Platypus? How did that happen?
Well, we just wanted an animal that nobody had used. Like a lot of the decisions we made early on were because we had just, let's go someplace that nobody else has gone. Like,
why not a chinchilla?
We'll give them a triangle head because we've never seen that before.
I also have to say, chinchillas specifically are not as funny as platypuses. I mean, that's just scientific fact.
Like the anatomics of the platypus is hysterical.
A platypus is a strange, weird amalgam of other creatures that feels like a mistake at some point happened genetically, and let's give it the bill of a duck and the tail of a beaver and
the furriness,
poisonous spurs, and
poisonous spur.
milk.
And
wait, oh, I'm sorry, hold on. They're poisonous?
They're one of the few
venomous
venomous mammals.
Yeah.
See, I know you're saying spurs, but I have
Like little spurs off their
so
off
it's
their,
like
off their back legs.
that's their
they
rear
have
leg,
poison pouches.
Yeah,
that's so
they
cute.
will mess you up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
If
don't pick
if
up
you're
a
in the
platypus.
wild and you see a platypus, do not touch it.
No.
That's what
Okay.
we're saying.
But I mean, like how, like a black widow poisonous?
No, I don't think you die, but you get really
Yeah.
sick for a while.
Okay,
Is what I hear.
And
So,
then
like,
you start.
I don't know, I haven't
You
picked
start
one up.
eating grubs. And
Oh,
you,
okay.
At bug larvae.
And do you turn into a zombie?
You start glowing
Maybe.
teal in
Maybe.
black lights.
Yeah.
have we seen a poisoning of Perry the Platypus in an episode yet?
No.
No, we've mentioned it,
We've mentioned that,
but we
he
haven't
has
actually
one,
had him
so.
because it seems kind of underhanded.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they found out literally in 2020 that platypuses glow teal under a UV light, which is like, which I was like, oh, that's
Bioluminescence?
weird. But they have
what they were
biofluorescence.
studying.
Is what they call it.
Biofluorescence. Aha.
And before 2020, they never knew that. In 1993, I colored him teal because I thought it looked cool.
That's so cool.
And I finally saw a picture of what they look in a UV light. It looks like Perry the Platypus. It's that color.
That's so cool.
It's one of the weirdest
And then a
coincidences
few years
that's
after
happened
that,
in my
they
life.
recorded their sound underwater, and it sounds like Perry the
Does it really? That's so
Which
cool.
We
is
just made
like-
this sound up. Dan
Yeah.
was there with Dee. He said, I don't know, kind of a weird chirping
purring
sound.
noise, and he went, and I was like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
let's
that's
do
good.
that.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Well,
Yeah.
I want to invite you guys on here because, as you know, like this is to motivate the next generation of great actors, writers, musicians, and more as artists. And I really want to get into the nitty gritty of like how you each got to where you are today. Because at one point, we all just started out as normal kids, right?
Yes.
So how? Well, we'll start here. What was like your journey like?
Well, I had drawn since I was a very, very little kid. My mom
Okay.
kept drawings that I did when I was 2, like before I could speak, that looked like the animals that they were supposed to like I've got them up in my house. And then I was drawing professionally when I was about 10 or 12, something like that. And then I sort of fell in love with performing at some point, and acted in a dinner theater for several years, and took drama classes and stuff like that. But what I always wanted to do since I saw Jaws was make movies, make that kind of entertainment, because it was sort of like, oh, this is like art and movement and sound and everything all put together. And then I came out here and answered an ad during some downtime. I was just doing freelance art, which always sort of paid my rent. And
so literally starving artist style.
Yeah.
So
and
cool.
And then I answered an ad at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were looking for storyboard cleanup. I was like, I could do that, and I went and did that. And then I went to The Simpsons and met this guy.
No
Yeah.
shit. That is
My
so
next gig was
cool.
at The Simpsons, and we sat across from each other. And then during the downtime of The Simpsons, he went and got work at Nickelodeon on a show called Rocko's Modern Life, and he recommended me go over there, and I took
called and said, Dan, you got to get over here. They're letting us write stuff.
And he said, just bring that comic strip, because I'd done a daily comic strip at USC for years.
So cool.
And I had books of this comic strip, and I just brought that to the meeting with Roger Chasson, who animated Jessica Rabbit, which I didn't know at the time, or I would have been more nervous. And I just brought in a book of my comic strip and just handed it to him, and he read the first like 3 or 4 and laughed at all of them. He said, okay, you're hired. That was the entire conversation. Can you start a week from Monday?
And on that show, we were actually both paired with different people as writing storyboard partners, and then they did a shuffle and they put us together.
And then we had the best time.
That's where we created Phineas and Ferb.
That's so cool.
We started the idea of doing it literally after we finished the first episode we worked on together and wrote our first song together.
We're like, we got to do this more often.
Got to figure out how to keep doing this.
And so we created the show then, and then it took 13 years to sell it. Because we were like, we'll just create a show together, and then we'll never have to work apart, and we'll, like that. And then we didn't work together for literally 13 years.
You're kidding me. So what year was it when
93.
93.
93,
okay.
And then 2005 they did
finally bought it.
Yeah,
Disney did.
They finally said let's do a pilot, and I called Swampy up because he was living in England at the time. We weren't even in the same continent.
Oh my gosh!
And I said, "Hey, Disney's optioning Phineas and Ferb. Do you want to? If we get a show out of this, are you going to come back and work with me?" And he said, "That sound is
me packing."
Yes.
Do it.
But before that, you were on The Simpsons. How did you get? What was your journey like getting to The Simpsons?
He has a more circuitous.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I dropped out of Pierce College, which was one of the last agricultural colleges in California, where I was taking no animal husbandry courses at all. But I was helping him out in the farm so that I could pay for my education. But I dropped out before the end of the year and went to bum around Europe. Came back and got a job. I took architecture.
Wow.
So I started out doing different like engineering, drafting jobs like that. I was with a geological drafting firm. And then I got into the computer business. And the last real job I had was vice president of sales and marketing for a computer accessories company. But I got fed up with it one day. I realized I didn't care about any of it. And I got home one day after we'd literally closed $1 million purchase order, irrevocable purchase order for a product that didn't exist. And I thought, I don't really care.
And what year was that?
That was probably 88, 89. And I quit. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I had a friend of mine who said, I've seen your drawings, because I started drawing in first grade just for fun.
Okay.
He said, you should get a job in animation. So I made a portfolio to do backgrounds, and my first job was on The Simpsons, second season, drawing backgrounds. Yeah,
second season. So you were there from the beginning.
From the beginning, and I remember I'd been there a week, took a big pay cut to go there, and came in, sat down. I was there early, squeaky, fresh face. I was 28 years old. Put my coffee down and started to weep.
Oh, why were you weeping?
Because I realized they were going to pay me to do this, and it just made me deliriously happy. Yeah. And that was it. And within 4 years, we were writing and directing together.
Oh my gosh. So do you have any advice to people who are getting started, who maybe are working in a similar situation as you are, and maybe they're not ideal job, but they're making good money, but it's just they're miserable?
Well, we always say, if you hate what you're doing, it doesn't matter how much they're paying you, it will never be enough.
Yeah.
And if you love what you're doing, it doesn't matter how little they're paying you, because it'll always be enough, because it's all about your quality of life. And we do for a living what we would be doing if we were unemployed. We'd just be hanging out and trying to make each other laugh and telling stupid stories and drawing stupid pictures and writing stupid songs and talking in silly voices, and we get paid to do all that stuff that we, so it's sort of like, well, we're getting up to the point where we could retire if we wanted to.
But you're already retired.
What would you do in retirement?
What would you do? We'd be
around
doing this and just not getting paid. It's like, that doesn't sound like retirement. Well, that just sounds like like you're going to stop paying me for what I
Right.
do.
But it's
So-
like you're already retired because you're living your
Yeah,
dreams.
exactly. We get to do what we want.
You guys did the starving artist life. You did the computers and the tech and the business side of everything. And you finally said, you know what, enough is enough. Like, we're going to pursue our happiness.
Yeah.
And the big thing I've always told people is don't go out and try to find your dream job. If you find like this industry, if animation, cartoons and all of that is what interests you, take whatever job you can get. That's where you learn what everybody is doing. You get to see how it functions. You get to meet the people. They get to know you. There's so many people that we've promoted from within the production just because we got to know them, liked them, knew we could rely on them. And those are the people we looked at and gave the opportunities to. So if you don't get, I'm going to be a director, I'm going to go get a director's job, probably won't be your first gig. If you get a job making the coffee, take the job making the coffee.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, it seems like you guys really have such unique and different backgrounds and paths of how you got to success. And the fact that you're saying, like, if we were retired, we would be doing the same thing. I mean, that's how you're successful and getting to make people smile and forget about the world for a while through your art, through your music, through your cartoons. But I do want to go back to the Steven Spielberg, John Williams whole aspect of everything. And so, now that I'm thinking about the Phineas and Ferb, and the process of looking at Jaws and the way that they utilize music in their shows. Now, what's your creative process for incorporating music into the show? Because there's songs in every episode.
It's really haphazard, to be quite honest.
It is a little bit. Well, like Swampy and I wrote a song for the first episode we did of Rocco. We wrote a song called "The Wallaby of the West" that was just so much fun to write. That when then we started writing songs in every episode that we did of Rocco, and we always intended to do that on Phineas and Ferb, and we were told early on in the process, like, oh, our EPs, our executive producers don't write songs for the shows, and I was like, well,
but we do.
But we do.
I don't know.
And so we wrote the theme song, and then we wrote the Perry the Platypus theme song. We wrote Swinter and Gitchy Gitchy Goo. And we had a meeting with the number 2 guy at the channel, and we're pitching him all of the first 3 episodes, and they all had songs in them like this. And at the end of the pitch, he went, "Can I hear those songs again?" And we said, "Yeah." And we played them for him again. We had like a little animatic for a couple of them, and he was like, "Those songs are great. Who wrote those songs?" And I was like, "Well, we did." And he's like, "You guys are great songwriters. Can you write a song for every episode?" And we were like, "Yes."
Let me think about it.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
We were
great.
like,
And so
yeah.
I know a little bit more about your musical experience, but Swampy, were you playing musical instruments as a kid?
I grew up playing instruments. The
did?
problem
Okay.
I always said was because of my grandfather, I could get lessons in anything I wanted, which meant you'd kind of start doing trombone lessons, and then you'd go, "Ooh, what's that?" So I never really got good at anything.
But you were master of all of them.
But
at the same
least
time.
I had familiarity with music, so I was able to pick most stuff up. But when we got the band, I realized the singer really only had to carry around one microphone.
And you have to spend money on an
That's
instrument.
And I'm like,
That's right.
I'll sing.
I'll just say.
This will be great.
I remember being at Eastman and I didn't understand how much a cello costs. Where my best friend at the time, he was like, "Yeah, this was a $60,000 cello, and my sponsor got it for me." I was like, "Oh, I don't get it. I don't have to carry a case. I don't have to worry about the condition."
This throat is
Yes.
$120,000.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's as much as the education, right? But
when I started playing in a band, I was playing lead guitar, which I'm not a good lead guitarist at all. But I can fill a space.
we gotta get
it's
Gene Simmons in there for you.
I can stay in the key and fill a space.
Cool.
If I need to, if I really need to learn something, I can learn it. But then we brought another guy into the band who also is a guitarist, and he played a little bit better than me, and we would trade licks back and forth sometimes and stuff like that. And then he started getting really, really good. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to keep up with this kid. And I became a pretty good rhythm guitarist. As well. You know, it's like, so the joke was we were in a band together for 16 years. I'm the only person in the band who got worse at their instrument. Everybody else got better.
I don't. I feel like you
like-
didn't get worse at your instrument.
I play enough to write music, which is all that really
we both
matters.
gigged around LA for many years. You guys, for
But not
twice
together.
as
It was
long.
separate.
No, separately.
Had
Would you
no
guys
idea.
ever gig around LA together nowadays?
If we
Just for funsies
we
in a perfect
did
world.
a couple of years ago, we were invited by a friend to go out to Columbia, just south of Nashville, for they used to call it the Muletown Festival, and we were supposed to do 1 hour gig playing Phineas and Ferb songs and telling stories. The gig ended up going on for 2 hours.
People had come from other states.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess it was the biggest attended gig at the festival, and we
Wow.
had the best time. And I don't think either of us had been on stage playing music in a long time up to that. And it really kind
It
of
felt
lit the
great.
flyer. So when we started
felt
talking about doing stuff in the future, we're like, we'd love to go do some more music because that was fun playing.
yeah. And I gotta ask, how many instruments? I know.
I'm sorry, we really.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Guys, thank you so much for coming onto the show today. I
Absolutely.
truly appreciate it.
We can
Y'all
come
make-
back again when we have more time.
That would be amazing. I would love that. Guys, Phineas and Ferb, June 5th and June 6th. Check out Disney Plus. And guys, I really appreciate your time. To end the show, do you have one piece of advice that you'd give to the next generation of great artists?
I always say find something that you would do for free and then figure out a way to make a living doing that.
And if anybody in your upbringing ever told you that you can't make a living doing weird artistic stuff, they're wrong.
They're
We're-
wrong.
We're making a pretty good living.
And not just us, like everybody we know
Lots of
does
people.
that. So
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's our show. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody!